Hello, everyone. So today we are here with Yakov Filipenko. And this episode of Fractional Frequency, we're going to focus on navigating the new career landscape. We'll trace Yakov's journey from being voted out at his previous company to becoming a digital nomad and founder of an HR tech giant. We'll unpack his skepticism toward AI replacing humans, discuss the rise of public expertise as the true credential for the modern worker, and examine how businesses can leverage fractional talent to stay more competitive. So, Yakov, you've said that layoff anxiety is actually pushing people toward independence. What are you seeing in the market, and why are so many people, specifically Gen Z, choosing a portfolio of fractional roles instead of one full-time job?
Sure. First of all, thanks for having me today. I would start from the COVID period because that's the period when we realized that something is going on. And at that time, I just sold my first startup, and I worked at a venture capital firm. And some of our portfolio companies, they didn't feel themselves well, and some of them started to skyrocket, like Miro or Deal, and we started to investigate what's going on, and we found an obvious reason that people move to their places and they're working from home. They do not spend time to commute to their offices. This time they can spend with their friends and family, or they can invest in something. And because a few other reasons happened, there is no managers behind you and other things. So we saw a few trends from things like people starting started to move far away from the city centers to the things people were looking for additional jobs. And then a few other things happened. First one is a series of layoffs. And to be honest, in my understanding, it happened in kind of awful way because people, let's say they confirmed job offer, they moved to another place, signed a lease contract, and one day before they have to start their jobs, they were fired. Some of them were people with 20 years in one company, they were fired in one day, and so on. It was about a relatively small number of people, but because it was big stories. I read a lot of articles on Reddit or other different places, and it looked like the social contract between employees and employers were it was destroyed or reconfigured somehow. So people started to think about how to be protected from employers and side projects. It was an answer. On the one side, you can edit in addition to your full-time job. On the other hand, you can let's say replace your full-time employer with 3 to 4 part-time projects. You can and with this setup, you can travel, you can, invest in all the things that you like, marketing, you shouldn't manage other people and so on. So that was the answer for millennials and generations that are older than millennials. And with next generation, actually, my first startup was about marketing. And we know this story about the childhood of millennials. They were born in the period when .com crash happened, and they saw how their parents how the problems with homes, and all the things. And that's why it's a marketing story. That's why millennials prefer to pay subscription over owning something. So the same thing with Gen Zs. Their parents they struggled to find a job, and it was specifically mass market jobs, this market. And it looks like they're pre-configured to part-time jobs, short projects, much less than 2 years. And actually, recently we checked our own analytics, how often Gen Zs, how often do they change their jobs in the first 5 years. And if for millennials, it's roughly 1.5 to 2 years. And then for Gen Zs, it's less than 1 year at that moment.
Is that their choice though, or is that them deciding that they just want to leave sooner, or is that because the job market's so volatile?
That's a tricky question because when I started my own career, my father told me that I would never hire a person like you because you are changing your jobs too often. It means 2 to 3 years.
because that used to be true.
We analyzed previous generations, and in their first 3 jobs, they were changing their first 2 to 3 jobs. It's roughly like 4 years or something. So it's actually true. But the thing is that like millennials, we are the main workforce all over the globe. So like companies must adjust to our schedule. So same thing will happen with Gen Zs. And the thing is that probably it's their choice, but like it also reflects that how the market works right now.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. You know, you bring up an interesting point is that the perception has also changed, right? Like when you were applying for jobs, it was perceived negatively if you were bouncing around, right? And trying different jobs. And they wanted to see more, I think, the stability. But now it's the reverse of if you are hopping around, you're only like building your, your abilities and your technical aptitude for things or your knowledge, right? Because it's showing just how much you're learning, right? By trying different jobs. So it's just a total different, it literally is a revolution, right? And so then who knows what the next one will be. So I totally agree.
The thing is that probably Gen Zs, probably they will work in another way. Probably they will have not just one job, like as the basic approach. Probably they will have like a few of them in parallel, and that's how like they will like work longer in one place.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I agree with that too. It's a different model, right? And on that note of just, things changing, we also hear about companies wanting to stay lean, right? Due to the efficiencies of AI. So how do you see AI and fractional talent working together to help businesses scale, without building huge teams, or I guess the need to have big teams?
I would say that there are 2 different things. The first one is we are focusing SMBs, because small businesses, they do not have like big budgets to hire people in advance or to hire people to do experiments and so on. That's why for them, part-time workers are actually like a great fit, because let's say our own experience, when we started our marketing, we did not know what kind of acquisition channel will work for us. So we had 2 ways. The first one is to hire, a CMO and believe that this person will drive everything. Or another one is to hire, let's say, we believe for some reason that, let's say, Facebook, Instagram ads will work for us. So we hired a part-timer who has incredible skills specifically in Facebook and Instagram ads. And like if it like fail, we can like say goodbye, because it's like a part-time. It's clear for both parties and so on, and start another experiment. And with this idea, we believe that part-time provides this flexibility to small and medium-sized businesses, and for them it looks like they are big enterprises. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm. It does. And I guess on that note, the whole when Silicon Valley emerged, right? Where do you think there are other areas or that people should have on their radar? Remote workers. Like, do you see a place that's going to be like the next big boom for, I guess, just Silicon Valley in general, right? Like, where's the next like big boom for jobs?
Actually, there are a few things. The first one, the market where we like our growth started actually was MENA region. And the reason is, let's say Dubai, it's a city where people from all over the world, at some point they have decided that I want to live in a beautiful place without taxes and so on. Like these people typically have a background, they have an expertise in something and so on. But like Dubai itself is not like, it doesn't provide a lot of opportunities. So like these people started to think about how to work remotely. And the thing is that we see that people are moving around, digital nomads, or they're traveling a lot, and there are like a bunch of like different countries. They provide like benefits for them and for their families, because it's like a kind of like tourism, but like people go to a country not just for a month or for a couple of weeks, but for like a whole year or something. So there is a big fight for talent. And the thing is that we believe that because of this war between Iran and other countries, specifically like many countries, they want to protect their IT infrastructure at this moment. Like previously, Europe developed this GDPR law to protect their data and so on. And the thing is that I believe that in the next 3 years, a lot of companies, actually, a lot of countries, sorry, they will start to build their own infrastructure within their countries. And it will require a lot of IT people who will be able to support it locally. And it won't be like one Silicon Valley anymore. It will be like a lot of different hubs that are supporting by local governments. That's my prediction for the next 3 years.
I agree with you. It's not just going to be one area. They're going to have to expand.
And why do you think everybody leapt to that so quickly, that we have this new technology, so that must mean humans are out, AI's in, everything is good? Like, why do you think we jumped to that conclusion so quickly as humans?
We have a fight with my CTO, who is a advocate for this whole like AI thing. And my current understanding is that we should think about two different types of companies or products or whatever. First one is like operational, and the other one is let's say product companies like Intch, for example. And from the operational perspective, there are a lot of things that you can optimize with modern AI LLMs. Let's say you can analyze like a lot of information in 10 minutes, and previously it took, let's say, weeks just to find this information and so on. But the problem is that, let's say, development process, when you are developing an app or something, it's extremely fast these days to launch your app from. But the thing is that a lot of things since 1990s that made this process much faster than it was previously. And the thing is that for 10 last years, an app is not the product itself. Marketing, positioning, all other things is much more important. It was much more important even, let's say, in 2010. So now it's just like if your production cycle looks like this, developing an actual app is a small part of it. You still have 90% of it that you should develop. And all these things are not like operational. So you have to have people who will make decisions about what you are selling, what are you like, what is your value proposition, how to market it, and so on. And all of these things are still about your people in your team and how like smart are they, and how what kind of decisions they can make, and what kind of budget do you have, and so on. Does that make sense? Just like people believe and like it's more about marketing. So many founders and like managers, they think that like AI is actually AI. So like they do, like if you will name it right, LLMs, large language models, you can't say in a sentence that dedicated this task to a large language model. It doesn't sound good. So the thing is that we believe that this AI is an actual AI from science fiction, but it's not. That's the problem. But like it's hard to explain. It's actually, my education is related to it. Like neural networks is that what I like have studied in my university. This is the first thing. And the second thing is when I joined Altair VC, a venture capital firm, I actually worked at the crypto branch of it. So like a fund decided to, let's say we will invest in crypto assets as well. And I saw this hype at the past, and it was like crazy for me. People, they were raising money at the speed of light, 50, 60 millions for nothing. They had just white paper. And in my I was like, okay, probably I'm wrong, because so many people can't be wrong at the same time about the one topic. So I'm wrong. I just don't understand how it works. And like, I'm proud that we didn't invest in all of these companies, to be honest. Some of them were like actual fraud, and some of them were just like, I don't know, misguided, something like that. But the thing is that I saw this, I don't know, mania in the past. So I like, and since then I have decided that, okay, I will try, at least for myself, to make decisions on my own. And now it looks like the same thing, because at the beginning, I heard a lot of news like this company replaced their support agents with AI. And it was like, okay, this is a nice example. And the thing is that I knew and one of the investors in this huge startup, and I asked them, hey, what's going on? Are they really making it real? And the answer was, no, actually, they were not able to raise money and they need to cut the budget. They have to fire people. But the thing is that can't just like tell to investors and to the market that we are not able to raise money. And this AI thing is actually a good, I don't know, uh, marketing or something, because it looks like you are not firing people because you don't have money.
Yeah, no, that's super interesting. Yeah. So tell us a little bit about what you're working on right now.
It's actually related to what we discussed earlier. It's about part-time jobs, or like what we call like future of work, because you ask the question, what's going on with Gen Zs and so on. And the thing is that it's like we are moving, in my understanding, and we believe in it, we are moving to a new format of work. And it's not just about like full-time or part-time. It's about how people think about the social contract between employers and employees. And we see a few models in, like, let's say in Scandinavian countries, they are testing this 4 days work week. And actually, this startup model was another format of how people can work. Let's say you are 25 years old professional, but you are best at something and you are like joining a small startup, but you have an option pool and they start with growing. So in your 30s, you will be rich enough to retire. That was actually another dream. So, and we believe that this part-time is actually the answer to a lot of problems. The first one is about the social contract. If you do not believe in one employer, you can work with a few of them, right? Another thing is modern professionals, they want to they can't afford to buy a house, at least in the US. That's a problem. So they can, let's say, at least travel. They also can change their profession. Like, let's say I'm a marketing guy, but I want to try myself as a product guy. So I can, let's say, try to find an opportunity with that. So at Intch, we are helping companies to find part-timers. And for companies, as I said, we are not working at this moment with big enterprises because they have budgets to hire full-timers and so on. But SMBs, they are our ideal customers because they typically don't have enough money. They, to be honest, don't clearly see what they need to do, especially in fields. Let's say everyone knows how to build a product, but almost nobody knows how to market it. So they're looking for ways of how to, I don't know, launch in a new country or to grow their sales and so on. And that's the place where we are helping them.
Yeah, that's awesome. I like it. So how does the platform work then? You go to a small, medium business and say, do you want to look for people on our platform, or does it work the other way that the candidates put themselves on there? How does it work? Let's tell the people how to get involved.
Actually, we realized based on our data that in the part-time world, people can or could be in both roles. So let's say they can hire people as managers, hiring managers, and at the same time, they can work in another project as a professional, as an expert. So our first employers, they joined us as professionals, and then they converted to hiring managers. But yeah, also we acquire SMBs, and we acquire them typically not in a way, hey, let's hire a part-time marketer. We actually ask them, what kind of problem do you have? And they describe their problem. And it could be absolutely different thing. Let's say we want to launch our next festival in Egypt next year or something. We have this idea, but we don't know how to do it. And because of actually AI, we can automate this thing. We can scan our base. We can find exactly like professionals who had similar expertise, our experience in the past, and we can suggest them. And then they match and discuss it. And that's how it works right now.
Amy, I think we should do our next networking event in Egypt.
I do too. I'm down for a little festival. Bit of pyramids, bit of camels. I like it. So say I'm looking for some work on a fractional basis because I'm disillusioned with the workforce and I want to travel the world. I just come to your website. Like, how do you get involved as a candidate?
You have to go to Intch.org and create an account. You have to pay our membership fee. You have to fill your profile, specify your like past projects, and it's actually like description of your past projects is actually much more important than your CV. That's another thing of AI reality, because for some people, it's hard to, let's say, sell themselves, to present them in a way to make it, I don't know, more advanced. So, but the thing is that everybody these days upload their CV to ChatGPT or Gemini or whatever, and then this process starts. And it looks like every person nowadays is like a superhuman, something like that. This was not a big problem when people worked at offices, because like you meet in person, you see how this person perform and so on. And if we switch to remote, you have to validate these skills somehow. And the thing is that in this AI world, you can fake almost everything. People use AI to put like test cases. They use it on their interviews. They adjust their CVs and so on. And it's actually very crucial to be able to validate it somehow. And we found another thing, that people trust other people and their opinions and so on. So one of the parts of our product is this validation mechanism. You can describe your own expertise. You actually describe someone else's expertise, and then they can't vote for you back. They have to describe someone else and so on. And we are building this graph, and we are trying to be this, like to work as a mechanism that provides this feedback about expertise of a professional.
That's really cool. And then they can validate it and they can see like, okay, this person's done this kind of work. Like this is going to be a good fit for us. So, I mean, how long do you think resumes have got left before nobody wants to read one because they're all full of lies?
To be honest, I believe it's already happened. On one side, you have a LLM that might adjust your CV. On the other hand, you have LLM that reads it, find like these patterns, and like enrich your CV and tries to verify it. The problem is that like it's really hard to solve it without significant changes. You can't just like ask users to fill their CV on your website and to control that they're typing letters or something like that. A different approach, and that's what we are trying to do. Build a scheme where it's will punish you if you will lie about your colleague. So like you are actually prove that this person did this job and they achieved these results, and you are promoting your own profile if it's true, and you are making a negative impact on your own profile if you are lying.
Yeah, me too. So switching gears a little bit, Yakov, because I think that you have a very fascinating journey that would be helpful for others to hear and learn from. Specifically, getting voted out of your own company is, I'm sure, something that most founders hope that they never experience. I mean, let alone anyone probably, like to have that happen and to obviously then see the success that you have. So what did that moment teach you, and how has it influenced your leadership style today?
At least I am in this club, like of founders who, to be honest, in the first 2 months after that happened, I remember that I scheduled like 4 to 5 meetings every single day just to be busy, because I didn't know how to do nothing. Like it's actually the very first and the biggest lesson is like nothing actually happened. On the very next day,
like your life changes, no one else, their life doesn't change.
Yeah.
They can support you.
Yes.
Let's go to a bar and discuss it, but like everyone else is like, that's fine.
Yeah.
You can handle it.
You can go to a bar, it's 9 a.m. Go to work.
Yes, we could do it.
So yeah, this is actually the biggest thing because I spent two months to just realize it. Nothing is really changing. So, and then I tried to understand what I did wrong or did I, and then I'm a mathematician, like my major is in mathematics. And I realized that, okay, it was a problem not in something related to the logic thing, but it's more about relationships, all the things. So actually I studied psychology, specifically Gestalt, and it was really nice thing because it opened the whole new world to me. We are using it a lot in our product, and this Steve Jobs thing, their idea, Apple's idea is that design can change everything, and I can say that we believe so much in design, but we believe so much in people interactions and their behavior and their psychology, and we use it a lot in our product because I don't know how familiar you are with patterns of product development, but they use this framework, jobs to be done. And it works in B2B SaaS products or something like that. In our field, people typically, they don't have a specific job to be done at this moment. Let's say if a person is expecting that he will be fired in a month, it's the same level of, as a sort, I don't know, hardest problem in his life. And the first one is your family members death, and the second one is your divorce. So they do not, in most cases, they don't even expect that on the next day you will suggest them new opportunities. They actually need some sort of support at first, and then they will have enough energy and resources to start applying for new jobs and so on. So all of these things actually you have to keep in mind if you are developing product like Intch.
Empathy also sounds like it perhaps that's what you also learned from that experience.
Empathy, yes, but much more actually. As I said, I'm a mathematician. I like formulas.
Yes.
People do a lot of things, and let's say everyone knows that if you will study or learn another language, it will improve your mental health. You will think faster and so on. But the thing is, people actually do it without any specific purpose. So we are irrational species.
Human beings are irrational. Yes.
Yeah.
I completely agree. So you've been featured in places like Business Insider and Fast Company, and you recently spoke at the Fast Company Grill. What would you say is the biggest misconception that people still have about today's workforce?
I would say that 2 years ago, it was in Chicago. I was a speaker and I was describing of how the current workforce landscape looks like. And my thesis was Gen Z generation, they will be the next main workforce all over the globe in the next few years. And we have to be prepared to this. And it was a 40 minutes speech. And then a lady asked me a question. She said okay, everything is good, everything is fine, but can you tell me please how to tell to my boss that it's okay to hire millennials? I was okay, we are probably think about next steps. So actually this is the thing is that most of the people don't understand is the social contracts have changed. Let me illustrate it with an example. The typical schedule is 8 working hours a day, right? But this thing was adopted by Henry Ford more than 100 years ago. And we are not working at factories, most of us, at this moment. US is a service-based economy, but we still use the same schedule, right? But these things have changed, and a lot of other things actually is changing right now, and we have to adapt to it. All of these AI things and similar is not so important like the social contract. That's how employees think about your company. If you want to be able to compete with other companies and other products, you have to hire the best talent. I don't know the exact percent, but this is the thing. And to be able to do that, you have to understand your customers, and your customers are your future employees.
That makes complete sense. There's so much emphasis on the fear of AI, but that's just a change, just like anything has changed, over the years for the workforce. So I totally agree with you.
Well, another thing is many companies these days, they are using this narrative. We are replacing people with AI. And what will happen if next year you will realize that you need more employees? And if your HR brand says that you are replacing people because you are investing in AI or something, next year employees, they will not feel safe with your company. So like just think about it when you announce these changes.
Yeah, I totally agree on that too. You need people to also, the more that people also are trained or aware and brought up to speed, I think also on the advancements that are happening in technology, it's only going to make companies better, right? So you still need them to continue, right, the trajectory that's happening. So
yeah, and if someone thinks that it's a joke, you can read about career catfishing. It's actually a huge trend among Gen Zs in the UK. What they basically do, they apply to a job, they pass all the interviews, they accept the offer, and then they never show up at their very first day. It's like the trend of how they demonstrate to employers that it's like they it's actually probably a trend, so they like discuss it with friends and it's like jokes and so on. But the thing is that they spend companies time and money and so on, and this is just one trend. Probably something will happen in the next 2 years, 3 years, and it also will be some kind of damaging, because Gen Zs, they are trying to find their place in these relationships.
that's so fascinating. I had no idea about that. Wow. It is probably to be, I don't know if it's adversary, but just like beat the system, if you will. That's the best way that I could talk about it too, is like they're trying to find their place, right? But also being like, look, I could get it. I could get this job, but I'm not going to show up. There's no consequences for me, right? So I definitely see that. Yakov, you've talked a lot about the importance of building public expertise. For someone that is just getting started, what's the single most impactful thing that they can do to future-proof their career?
It's actually one of the best things that is going on right now is that you can do something with a small amount or number of resources.
Mhm.
It's just like you can, if you are in an IT field or you're a white collar or something, you can actually present yourself with real like products or real, I don't know, documents or whatever, and like demonstrate your judgments. Because one thing that will happen is all operational things will be much easier to implement in the nearest future. But what will be the most important skill is how do you make judgments. That's the skill that you have to develop, and that's the skill that you can demonstrate even now. That's my advice.
I like that.
It's a
Thank
good
you
one.
so much.
It's a good one.
Thank you.
Well,
Yeah.
great to have you today.
Yeah. Thanks for having me.